Hello, Falcons! Today is the day we start writing your fairy tale. You've been preparing for this day for quite some time. Now, to write our fairy tale, we need to use all of the documents we've compiled over the past 2 weeks about fairy tales. Now, let's take a look at what those are. Here we are on Google Classroom. This is how you access everything you've done over the past 2 weeks so that you can write your first draft. All right, let's start. This is the stream. We need to go to classwork. After we go to classwork, we're going to scroll to the section that says English Language Arts. Your Google Classroom might look different from mine. Here we go. Okay, here's English Language Arts. Now, down here, we have the 2 things we did in the past 2 weeks to help us write our fairy tale. So let's click on the first one, Fairy Tale Brainstorm Padlet. Here's the Padlet. This is the first document you can use to help you write your fairy tale. You do not have to use this one because if you completed the next document, that one is much better. All right, so in this first one, if you'd like to use this, you just look at each post you made to start writing your fairy tale. If you would like to use your other document, go up to your Google Classroom tab, and then instead of clicking on Fairy Tale Brainstorm Padlet, you're going to click Fairy Tale Graphic Organizer, and you click on that document. It will open, and it's the document with all the text boxes. So this document that has all of the text boxes is where my whole story has been written. I've already written my fairy tale in the plot map. So when I write my fairy tale, I'm going to focus on the plot map. So if I'm looking at my plot map, I would start at the very bottom with characters and setting. That's where I start to write my story. If I'm looking at the brainstorm, I would start with characters and setting, just like the plot map. Now that you've seen the 2 documents that will help you write your first draft, let's actually write the first draft. We go to the Language Arts section of Google Classroom, and then we're going to go to the Fairy Tale First Draft. After we click on that, we actually click on the document that is assigned, and when you open it, it will be a blank page. I would like to go over this with you because there's certain things that we want to see on your first draft so that it's easier for all of us teachers to look at them and read them all in a row. So the first thing is your name. To write your name at the top, you need to double click, either using a mouse or you're using a trackpad. You double click in the header up here. Then you're going to click the Right Align button. It's right up here. And then you can type your name. Don't type my name, type your name. Okay, after that, you can click out of the header and you're back where you started. The next step is to write your title. So you're going to go up to the Center Align button and go ahead and click on that. This makes it so that you're typing in the middle of the screen. It's nicer this way. Now that we're in the middle of the screen, we can type the title of our fairy tale. I'm going to go back to my fairy tale graphic organizer to see which title that I chose. I chose Pegasus versus Unicorns. I might want to change it. I don't know. I'm going to write that for now. Again, this is a first draft. There are certain reasons we write a first draft. First reason is to get all your ideas on one page. Second reason is to organize all of your ideas in a nice way. Third reason is because it's what real writers do. Okay, so Pegasus versus unicorns. When I'm done typing my title, I'm going to press enter or return. It's the button that makes the little cursor for writing go down one line. Then I'm going to hit it again. I want it to go down twice so that I have space between my title and my actual story. When I'm done pressing enter twice, I'm going to go back up to the align and do left align. So now I'm clicking left align so that my cursor goes all the way to the left of the page, and I'm going to click tab. I'm only clicking tab once. Tab is on the left-hand side of your keyboard. You click tab once, and that indents your paper. Sort of like when your teacher said use 2 fingers to indent when you're on lined paper, you use tab to indent on the computer. Then I'll actually start writing my fairy tale. When I write my fairy tale, I'm going to write it in paragraph form. No bullet points, no random sentences, no just one sentence and then press enter. We're writing it in paragraph form. Because it's a fairy tale, paragraphs don't necessarily have to be 5 sentences. They could be more than 5 sentences, or if there's a character talking, it could be less than 5 sentences. So we need to take a look at this and actually start writing a paragraph. Make sure you're ready. I would like to look back at my brainstorm or my graphic organizer to decide how to start. So I'm starting with the setting and characters. And if I want to use my brainstorm, I can use that one too and do setting and characters. Either way is okay. I'm going to be looking at my plot map most of the time because that's going to help me the most. So looking at this, my story starts in a magical forest with a border separating the Pegasus and the unicorns. The Pegasus live in tree fortresses and the unicorns live in fortresses carved from crystal. So that's the first thing I want to start talking about, and I want to introduce my characters in the beginning of the story. So my first draft is going to start, of course, with a fairy tale sentence. So I could say once upon a time, I could say on a bright sunny day in the Pegasus Kingdom or the Unicorn Kingdom. So I need to start describing where my characters live in my fairy tale. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the setting. You could introduce a character first, but I'm going to start with the setting. So I'm going to start with on a bright, sunny day in spring, a Pegasus found himself bored with his life in the Pegasus Kingdom. And then I might describe where he lives. What is the Pegasus Kingdom, right? So I'm going to describe that now. Okay, so I described what my setting is. I described even the weather a little bit because I want my reader to know exactly where this Pegasus is living. So I wrote a little bit about my Pegasus and where he lives. I talked about how he's orange and yellow, and that's his wings. His wings are feathered orange and yellow. I described what he looked like. I described where he lived. I don't have to go right into my other character and write where they live. I can introduce those characters a little bit later. I'm going to do a new paragraph. To do a new paragraph, you click enter or return, and you click tab. If you want, you can click enter twice and click tab, and then you'll have a space between your paragraphs. That's just kind of your choice. I just like to have it all together. So like this. All right, I'm going to start writing my second paragraph, and it's going to be about the start of the Pegasus's journey. So I'm going to talk about Calcifer and how he's feeling based on my organizer right here. So I'm going to include all of that, but with more detail, because the point is to get all of my ideas on the page. That way, later when I write my final draft, I can just add details, move things around, and work with it. I've written my paragraph about Calcifer's beginning of his adventure. So basically, this paragraph is saying that he crossed the unicorn border and he's making his way through like the farmland and he sees different unicorns, and the unicorns are curious about him, but they don't want to talk to him because they know that he broke the law. So I'm done with this paragraph because now I'm going to start introducing my other character, Turnip. So I'm going to press Enter and Tab, and then I can start talking about Turnip. Now, remember, I'm following my plot map here. So I'm going to actually write my whole fairy tale like this by following the plot map. I'm not coming up with every single idea over again, right? It's all right here. So use your ideas you have from your plot map to actually write your own fairy tale. Add more details in as you go. Like you can tell, this paragraph I have here for Rising Action is much smaller than the one I wrote right here because I added a lot more detail. So this is what you're going to be doing to write your first draft. Remember, it's just getting your ideas down. I know I made mistakes in here. There's plenty of mistakes to fix in here because we're editing this later. Just get your ideas down now, and we will work on this and edit it in another week. So for now, get everything down you need to get down. Make sure you do your entire plot map on this fairy tale first draft. Get through your whole story, and then you'll be able to actually edit it. At the very end, where it says themes, make sure you're not just writing the theme at the bottom. The point of having themes there is for you to double check your story and make sure that it actually follows this life lesson. So your story should be teaching me or teaching the person that reads it a life lesson. So that's something you need to keep in mind at the end, is read your story again and make sure that it has this life lesson in there, just not stated directly. One more reminder is you're allowed to use this fairy tale brainstorm. If you like looking at this better than looking at the plot map, you can use that one too. The plot map should have just been more detailed. That's why I like using that one. All right, this is about it for how to write the fairy tale. I'm going to continue writing my fairy tale, but I don't think that you need to watch me write the whole fairy tale because I think you probably get the point. So remember, make sure your name's at the top. Make sure you have a title, and you can always change the title later. Just write a first title for now. Make sure you're pressing Enter or Return twice to make that nice space in between. Then you're going to indent each paragraph.